Somebody commented that I should make more sleep-deprived videos. Well, I haven't had any additional sleep since that last one that I made, so hey, why don't I take these lemons and make lemonade? But people might think I'm a misogynist because of my Lacy Green video, so this one, I'm gonna have to direct my crankiness at a male. But, you know, a weak, emaciated bitch of a male. Yeah, you know, some histrionic bully fodder. You know, somebody that I can soundly thrash, even in my severely weakened condition. See, I'm fading fast. It's a pretty tall order, though.
Well, that was an absolute fail. The moment I set up my camera,
And the internet gods are kind to me once again. Let's go ahead and skip your tedious exposition, though, MrRepzion.
For those of you who don't know my past here, I grew up in a religious household. I would go to church every single Sunday. I was taught religion, I was taught God, I was taught all that lovey-dovey stuff that religion teaches you when you're very, very young and very, very gullible.
I'm going to try to put this kindly, MrRepzion, but every single thing about you absolutely screams that at a perceptive person, that you were raised by religious people. Might still be inclined to a little bit of religious thinking on occasion. Maybe a little bit of moralizing and looking down the nose and shit like that.
Growing up, I would attend Sunday school every Sunday. I was very devoted to my beliefs when growing up. And until about my younger teenage years, adolescent years, 13, 14, 15, is where, ironically, I went through some stuff that you probably wouldn't expect at a church.
Oh no, the main thing I expect of a church is my absence. On the very few occasions that I've gone to church, gave me the fucking heebie-jeebies. Creepy as shit. Like some Children of the Corn fucking shit going on with the staring eyes and the... It's fucking creepy, dude. If you told me that they were eating babies in the basement, I would only be mildly shocked.
Because let's be honest, when you think of a church, you think of a place, or at least growing up I did, I think of a place that's, you know, a place that people can go to. Doesn't matter what their sexuality is, you can go to the church and it's a place of love and acceptance for broken people.
Okay, I agree with that. Sounds relatively accurate. I'd just throw in there that they're the ones who break you, and they make sure that you stay good and broken, but your statement is, on the face of it, quite accurate.
I've always viewed the church, and I still think this today, I think the church should be a place for broken people to go to. It doesn't matter your sexuality, it doesn't matter any of that, or what you believe, it's a place for people to go to feel loved and cared for. That's my typical thought process of what I think a church should be. Unfortunately, that's not the case with a lot of churches today and all the different denominations that are associated with that. In any case, I attended church and I was heavily bullied.
The hell you say, son? You were bullied? I never would have suspected. Not for a second. Topsy-turvy world we live in.
The crazy thing about that is, again, you don't think that bullying would exist within a church, but it certainly did.
Listen, I don't want to get on you here, MrRepzion, but church-going Christians that I've seen, they're kind of, how would Jesus put it? They're sheep, right? They're weak. They're weak, gregarious, I don't see them as bullies, because how hard can a Christian bully you? They're sad. It's sad if you're being bullied by Christians. I mean, just punch them in the nose and they'll cry like a little bitch, and then, I don't know, go to their parents and ask for dessert and get more obese. I don't know what Christians do, but it just seems like they wouldn't be that hard to fight.
And one of the things that I was finding growing up in my adolescent years in the church is that I was constantly looking for validation from my fellow peers.
Good thing you got over that.
And these fellow peers were, ironically enough, the people who were bullying me, the people who were making fun of my weight. Because growing up, when I was in my adolescence years, I had terrible, terrible acne. I was very, very chubby in the face. I had, I guess you could call baby fat rolls on my body, and I was a very chubby little teenager. I often have heard it said that bullying builds character.
It can. It really depends. It's not an exact science. It really only builds character if you learn to stand up to it, but if you buckle like a weak-ass little bitch and then stew in a festering sore of weakness the rest of your life, then yeah, I guess it doesn't really build character. It kind of does more harm than good. Sort of like, doing aerobic exercise can make you more fit. Or you can drop dead of a heart attack. Just gotta roll them dice.
Much like nuclear waste builds a superhero.
Listen, I'm going to do you a favor for your feelings and not go on a lengthy rant over your pronunciation of nuclear.
It's a rare occurrence and often does more damage than endowment, and I believe that is a very, very true statement.
Well, yeah, if you're the motherfucker who tried to exercise and you had a massive heart attack and had to have stents and bypasses and shit as a result, you'd be like, I'm pretty sure that this exercise shit does more harm than good. I mean, from my point of view, I don't see how you could see it otherwise. And by endowment, do you mean a big dick? I think that's what you mean, but I'm not sure.
One of the biggest things that I had to come to realize is not to bully myself.
Oh my god, that's exactly what you should have done. See, you can't handle the real bully, so you gotta get yourself a training bully. So you gotta find some little meek, pathetic, chump-ass wimp to bully you. Hey, how about you? And then you overcome that bully, and then maybe you can work up to, like, your smaller, real-world bullies, and then maybe the bigger bullies. You know, it's kind of like a training program. You gotta have a can-do attitude about this sort of thing. By the way, MrRepzion, I know that nowadays everybody's like, oh, bullying is just terrible with the bullies. Oh, we gotta stop the bullies. People killing themselves. Well, it's not great that people kill themselves, but here's the thing about bullies. How do I put this? We live in a world of concrete and steel and supermarket lines and laws and paperwork. But the world we live in is no less of a jungle for all of that. And the people who forget that are anyone's prey. Now, what bullies do is they are that not-so-gentle reminder that, bitch, this is a jungle. It is filled with fucking predators. So best you not be walking around with a bunch of visible fucking weakness. And that's how they build character. They teach you not to dangle your weakness around like you think you're in some sort of safe place where nobody's ever going to attack you. They make damn sure that you're aware that any asshole can attack you at any time by being the asshole attacking you. They're really doing you a favor if you look at it like that.
Because of what I was dealing with within the church and the names I was constantly being called. I was being called fat, I was being told that I was ugly, I was being told that I was dumb, on and on and on. I was called very vulgar obscenities among these peers that I was seeking validation and acceptance for within.
You know what a really good, effective life strategy is? When people are calling you dumb and fat and ridiculing you and generally expressing distaste, disdain, disrespect, and many other disses for you, perhaps you shouldn't seek their approval, especially since they are constantly heaping disapproval upon you. I mean, at the very least, try to seek approval from people who are kind of neutral, maybe nudge them from neutral to approving, because it's really hard to get from massive heaps of disapproval to even zero, let alone approval. So I mean, I'm all about an uphill battle, but come on, don't make life harder than it has to be.
The church. What I had to come to realize about myself is that if I say those things to myself, what other people are saying about me, that I'm dumb and stupid, that I'm ugly, that I'm fat, that I am bullying myself. You are doing exactly what those bullies are doing to you. And that can be extremely damaging to your self-esteem, your self-worth, and your life in general.
I guess I'm pretty lucky with my disposition, because when people start heaping disapproval on me, even as a child, I'd be like, oh, fuck you, you're stupid. Didn't bother me. Kind of like that now, too. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit of an ass. If I don't bully myself and have self-esteem problems, I don't even know what the hell self-esteem is. Like sitting around feeling good about yourself? I am as I am. My feelings about that are kind of irrelevant.
Bullying is just a sign of another person's insecurity. The problem does not dwell within you, but the problem dwells within them.
Listen, I don't mean to sound all like domineering or patriarchal or like I give a shit about you or your pathetic fucking life. But did it occur to you that the bullying does not stem from a place of insecurity? There's a reason that there are bullies in the world. And why bullying is just kind of a manifestation of an ordinary human trait. With no other external factors, humans have an inclination to pretty much be pussies. What stops that from happening? Well, some guys, they see their fellow man, I'm using the term man kind of loosely here with you, MrRepzion, they see him just not being a self-actualized individual with a iron core of inner strength, and they say, you know what this guy needs? He needs some adversity. He needs to grow some fucking backbone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack him. And as soon as he shows me some strength, I'm going to stop. Because I will have done my part to better his life. I mean, it doesn't really go through every bully's head. A lot of them are just kind of like assholes. But bullying is not without its utility.
And you have to understand that. These people put you down and call you these names to feel better about themselves, when in reality it's actually making them more miserable. But it somehow creates a temporary satisfaction at the fact that they can call you these names and it affects you.
No, you weak-ass little bitch. Sometimes the sense of satisfaction is for when you grow a set of balls and stop being such a little fucking bitch. You know, one of my greatest success stories is my longtime Twitter friend Lazy Savant. I bullied that motherfucker, and now he is tough. You're welcome, Lazy Savant. You're welcome, world. Bullies are the unsung heroes of existence.
Real bullies prey on people who are vulnerable, people who don't know how to fight back.
Swimming instructors prey on the vulnerable, people who don't know how to swim.
And you know, you can sit there and you can say, well, you're being bullied, well, just tough it out, be tough, stand up for yourself. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these people who are being bullied don't know how to stand up to these types of people.
Which is why they so clearly need fucking practice. You know, when I was a child, like 3 or 4, I found it goddamn impossible to walk while holding an almost full glass of water. Like, it's amazing that it was so difficult for me, because, like, how can I keep this water from getting out of this cup? It seemed totally undoable. Now, I can jog with 2 full cups of coffee, and even open a door with my fucking foot. You don't get better at anything by buckling like a weak-ass little piece of shit. You don't know how to stand up to them, try different things. See what works. See what bullies respond to. One thing doesn't work, go on to the next. And the next, and the next, and the next. And eventually, you'll have yourself a series of strategies with relative, efficacy in various situations, and your life will be improved for it.
And that is where intervention, you, is required. Throughout my life, I have gotten to the point that you can only offend me or hurt me if you mean something to me. And all of those people in my past, those religious bullies, as I like to call them, you can't base your life on others people's expectations of you, because when you do that, you give these people the power to destroy you and take advantage of you, and you take to heart what they said, when in reality, you shouldn't give a living crap about anything they say to you.
Say, you know what's a really good thing to teach you? To disregard the shit that people say. People are always giving you shit. You're like, well, I could just accept these shitty comments at face value and then feel like shit. But you know what I'm going to do? I am going to dismiss these things out of hand. Lesson learned. Looks like the bullies have enriched our lives again.
But because you're young, because you want that validation, because you want that acceptance, because you so desperately you want to feel needed.
And that's another thing that those bullies taught you. Don't be an approval-seeking little bitch. Be a man. Go through life wanting approval, you're gonna do nothing but get dragged through the dirt, and you're never gonna get your precious fucking approval. And you're fortunate that some people taught that to you. Albeit not very well, based on your general behaviors.
You want to feel wanted. That is a very typical thing growing up in your adolescence years, whether you're a guy or girl, is wanting to feel accepted and wanted.
Well, maybe, but I'm just going to go off on a tangent and say that that need is the root of every atrocity that has ever befallen mankind. Little bit of a grand, sweeping statement, but I mean, let's just have a few examples. Nazis. They just wanted to, have a group to belong to. The KKK. The Steubenville rapists. Gosh, if I weren't so tired, I could come up with so many more. But basically, weak-ass little sheep people who would rather be accepted and loved instead of doing some rational shit or some non-destructive shit. Yeah, they are the pawns that have allowed every terrible thing to happen ever.
Even if that means being with crowds of people who don't respect you, who don't care for you, and bully you to the point of where you may attempt to take your life or hurt yourself. And those types of people are not your friends.
Also, jagged shards of roasted metal are not edible food. We stating the obvious here, motherfucker?
Bullying has nothing to do with you. It is not your fault for what is happening to you.
No, it is. I mean, the bully has a lot more of an active role, but you're walking around being all weak and shit, so that is a contributing factor to that. You can't say you're totally blameless. Just go all psycho on their ass. Shouldn't give them what for. They'll move on to weaker prey. So, I mean, I don't want to victim blame, but you, the victim, are to blame.
But it has to do with them and their own insecurities and their own struggles, and because they feel so miserable, putting you down, hurting you, and calling those names is the only way that they can get that temporary satisfaction because it's affecting you, and that makes them feel better.
It's a nice little story you got there, MrRepzion. Nice attitude to impart to our youth. You know what? Psst. You don't have to do anything. Just find an adult. They'll take care of it for you. 'Cause that's how life works. When there's adversity, you can always find somebody to take that on for you. No, it's not your fault. Not your responsibility.
True bullying is all about power and pride. No one...
I'm too miserably tired to do anything productive, but still I am done listening to your dilettante explanation of bullying. I'm not going to listen to how bullying works from an emaciated skeleton who just so happened to have been taunted for being fat. I'm sure there's no fucking correlation there. Or that you like to get up on your soapbox and preach at people, like a histrionic little choir girl. More to the point, I don't enjoy bullying you, MrRepzion. It's an exercise in futility that I undertake out of a sense of duty. Because you are weak, and you are at everyone's mercy and anyone's meat, and it is apparent to absolutely fucking anybody capable of perception. Although I don't think that I can fix that, I made a sound effort, and I can feel good about that. I can, but I won't, so have a good night.